Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Can everybody hear me well? Okay, so 1930, let's go back a little bit. 1930, we have the first World Soccer Cup. Yes, Montevideo, Uruguay. Trivia question for you. Was the U.S. national team at that first World Cup? Raise your hands if you think that we were there. Raise your hands if you think that the U.S. was not there. Okay, so more hands claiming that the U.S. national team was. Yes, we were there. In 1930, the U.S. national team was part of the first World Cup. As a matter of fact, that's our best finish in a World Cup. Depending on how you interpret the rules, we either finished third or fourth. We went on to beat two teams. We beat Paraguay and beat another team from Europe. And we lost in the semifinals to Argentina. Argentina went on to play against Uruguay in the final, and Uruguay was crowned the first World Soccer Champion, 1930. So that's how long the U.S. has held a national soccer team. So Uruguay wins the World Cup, and suddenly everybody wanted to play soccer, right? Just like in next year in the Olympic Games in Brazil, we have two new sports coming in, right? Which sports are those? Anybody? It's not futsal. We have one that's similar to American football, which is rugby. Rugby 7 is part of the Olympic Games in 2016 in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And we have another sport that Tiger Woods was a phenomenon at that, golf. Golf is also part of the Olympics. So those are the two new sports that are coming in. So in Brazil particularly, there's going to be a huge movement for everybody to play rugby 7. The same thing that everybody wanted to play soccer in 1930 in Uruguay. However, there were not enough soccer fields, right? So what do you do if you want to play a sport and there are no facilities? Where do you go? Where does basketball originate? Which association? YMCA. So a group of guys walked into the YMCA of Montevideo with a soccer ball in hand, and they tried to play soccer at the basketball gym. But they realized that you cannot play 11v11 on a basketball gym. It's too small. So they reduced the numbers to 5 players, 4 field players and a goalie. They also realized that they couldn't bring the soccer goal to the gym because a soccer goal is 24 feet wide. So it would take probably all the width of the gym. So they reduced the size of the soccer goal to 3 meters by 2 meters, or 3 yards by 2 yards roughly. And they realized that the soccer ball, when in contact with the cement, bounces too much. So the ball will be going all over the place. So what they did, they found a way to reduce the bounce of the ball. And the rest is history. Futsal was developed in Uruguay in 1930. In 1950, Brazil wrote the rules. So if you ask a Brazilian who invented futsal, they're going to say Brazil. They are not telling you the whole truth. Uruguay invented, Brazil wrote the rules also in the YMCA of Sampaio in 1950. And from there on, it spread all over the world. We have professional leagues now in Spain, Ukraine, Russia, Argentina, Brazil, Uruguay, Paraguay. Spain has the strongest futsal league in the world. About 35 years ago, a gentleman called Javier Lozano, he went to Brazil and he introduced futsal as an organized form in Spain. And the result you saw in 2010 when the tic-tac-toe, when Spain finally won the World Cup. That tic-tac-toe is nothing more than futsal. My name is Bill Sampaio, and I'm the National Director of Coaches for the United States Futsal Federation. We are the governing body of futsal in the United States. And this presentation today is about how to increase the speed when playing soccer using futsal as a tool. Okay, so we lost the signal. Let's go over here, do some magic. Okay. You just love when that happens? Okay, there we go. So futsal expedite the soccer learning process. What advantage does nations that play soccer, they are successful playing soccer, what do they do that we don't do over here in the United States? Very simple. The younger players, they develop their skills by playing futsal. By the time they are 11, 12, 13, they transition. If you're good enough, you're going to play soccer or you continue to play futsal. So futsal expedite the soccer learning process. How? Number one, the ball does not bounce. The ball is on the ground. Number two, there are no outside lines, so there are no walls for you to kick the ball in. The ball is always coming to you. You score 3 times more goals in a futsal game than in a soccer game. It's excitement. There are 6 minutes between each goal and 43 seconds between each shot. So there is action all the time. What does children love the most? To do technicism, to be in a line with one ball, passing the ball to each other, or playing the game? You answer me. Playing the game. This is the game. This is the game that you expedite the children's learning process very quickly because it's a cognitive game. Develops thinking players, quick reaction. That's what other countries have that we now are starting to see. The line has been shown on us over here. Players get better naturally, right? If there are only 4 players, it's not 11. You're not playing 11 aside when you have to give 20 little minutes to John because he's paying and you have to play him. Otherwise, the parents will come at you and you put little John to hold that corner flag over there in the corner. Go, John, go get your 20. Yeah, play left wing over there. Go hold the corner flag. Right? Guilty? We're not developing that player. As a matter of fact, that player, by the time that player is 12, he's going to quit. And it's not his fault. It's because we made false promises. A lot of clubs talk about player development. They're not developing the players. They're developing their wallets over there. Right? And then the player quit. So we lose 75% of the soccer players by the time they turn 13, 14. Why is that? Why do we lose players? Why they quit? Why they go play something else? Why? Why do you quit your job? Why do you quit your job? Because of your boss? That's a pain. Or because you're not good at what you do, correct? You have not achieved success in what you do. Your self-esteem is low, therefore you quit. The same thing happens to the players. If players are not competitive, they will quit. And by competitive, I mean not winning or losing all the time, but by playing against you and knowing that I might win or lose. Not by playing against you all the time knowing that I'm going to lose because I have not achieved success. My self-esteem is low, therefore I'm going to quit. So by expediting the learning process using the futsal development methodology, we make sure that those players are confident. Number 2, why in soccer players boot the ball? Why do you boot the ball? Why? Why don't you keep possession? Why does you have players that are booting the ball? You have teams that boot the ball. They play the long balls, old-fashioned soccer. Why is that? Because they don't have skills to keep possession of the ball. So if I don't have the skills, what I do? I kick that ball. And then what do I have to do now? To go after it and get it. And when I have it, what I do? I boot it again. Does not make sense. The only reason that players get rid of the ball is because they don't have skills. As a matter of fact, when you go training, your players just tell them, from now on, the word kick is out of our vocabulary. We either pass or shoot to score. Eventually, we have to clear. You have to plant that philosophy, that principles in your membership. From the time they are 4 or 5, all the way to the time they are 17 and 18. We have to keep those players engaged in playing the game. And the only way that they're going to stay playing the game, therefore belonging to a membership for a long period of time, is by developing their skills. higher skills equals higher self-esteem equals better player. That's simple. The equation is that simple. World Cup analysis 2014. I was in Brazil. Yes, I saw England, Uruguay. Then I traveled to see Brazil, Chile. Then I went to see USA and Belgium with Sanil Gulati, who is the president of US Soccer. And then I went to see Brazil, Colombia. And on Sunday, I left Brazil. I arrived over here on a Monday. And on Tuesday, Germany destroyed Brazil. Right? That was unbelievable. We expected that. Anybody that knows the difference between a soccer ball and a coconut knew that Brazil was not ready to play that game. Knew that Brazil was the reason is very simple, in my opinion, is that most of the staff are old-fashioned. They have not developed. Again, sports is a science, soccer is a science. Just like engineering or medicine. It's a science, continues to develop every day. So if you're lag behind, it's going to be very difficult for us to catch up. That's what we have been trying to do over here in the United States since 1981, when U.S. Futsal was first organized. We have had regional, national championships since 1985. Our national championships are going to be this July in California, in Anaheim, where we have about 200 teams from across the country that come to measure their force against other teams. So the game is growing tremendously. As we all know, PDAs now is mandatory to play futsal, yes? PDAs, Professional Development Academies. 13s and 14s, they must play futsal from January to March. Next year, PDAs are going to bring in 11s and 12s. Guess what's going to be in their curriculum? Futsal. And then a couple more years, 9s and 10s will come into the PDA academies. So futsal is a new aspect of your business, if you will, but your most important business, your most important asset are your children. And you have to expose them to the games. Well, but I never played futsal before. Okay, let's learn. I've been doing indoor soccer, kicking the ball in the wall for 30 years. Why am I going to change now? Well, have you been successful? Yes, I have won some trophies, yes. How about your players? Have they developed? That's how you measure success. How many players have you put in a Division III, Division II, or Division I college to play? How many have quit? Do you keep that stats? You should, because you're going to see that if you play indoor soccer, your players is not developing. The bully players' time is gone. The time that we select player by their height and how fast they could run, it's gone. Now, the first element that we select players is skills, skills, skills. Then we look at everything else. Okay? If you look the average of the Spanish national team when they won the World Cup in 2010 was 5'8". Germany was higher. The job of a coach is to find equilibrium. Yes, I need a tall goalie, right? We will not look at goalies if they are not at least 6'1", 6'2". Right? Yes, I do need a central defender. Sometimes there is some crossing, some Irish crosses over there. And I need a central defender, right? Yes, I need a strong first striker so he can play as target and receive the ball when the second striker makes the run to score goals. And everybody else is average. Everybody else is average. So let's stop that mentality where we select the tall player. If a tall player comes in and a short player comes in and the short player is more skilled than the tall player, let's leave that paradigm of the tall player getting the spot. Let's look at what they can contribute into the game. Okay? So most teams played with 2 or 3 strikers, right? This was one of the top scoring World Cups that we had. Play developed from defense through midfield through attack. What does that tell you? Is that long balls were hardly played. And teams that played the long balls, they quit, they did not progress. Most teams' build-up play was on the floor. The tic-tac-toe. Ball on the ground, the ball does not bounce. What game is that? Futsal. You will meet people that will tell you that for them, soccer is nothing more than several futsal games going on with the option of the long ball. Let's face it, if I play midfielder, How many players are involved in this ball over here? I have a guy over there. I have a guy over there. I have one forward, yes? And I have the option to pass the ball back, and I have the option of the long ball. So I have 4 players involved. That's futsal. And everybody else is moving to create space or to, putting themselves in a position that they can receive the ball and make something constructive about it. The modern game is played with the ball on the ground. 1966, who won the World Cup? Where are my friends from England? Anybody from that part of the world? 1966, England wins the World Cup. That was the last time that they won anything. True history. Actually, no. England won 2 U17 European Cups. And the last one was last year. Under 17 European Soccer Championship. England won it. How many futsal players were on that team? 5. 5 futsal players were on that team. England has over hundreds of futsal leagues going on right now. They have a national team. Ireland, Scotland, everybody is playing futsal. The secret of success, the secret for you to create a larger number of skilled players so they continue on the ranks is futsal. Imagine if the United States national team, all those guys were exposed to futsal at their younger ages. They would be more complete players nowadays. I'm going to share with you over here 10 exercises, and then if you come to our presentation on the gym at 12 o'clock, we're going to show you how we do this, those exercises over here. So you go to a training session, right? You're running late. The kids are over there. There's one ball. They're sharing the ball. What you should do is that for every training session, you should have enough balls so each player has a ball. And that's how we warm up over here. Players are warming up. Very simple. Everybody has a ball, and everybody is dribbling around. See if I get this right. Everybody's dribbling around in an area over here, and I have cones over here. This is your group. Which age group? My kids don't even know how to shoot the ball good. They don't even know how to dribble good. Put them to dribble over here. Have them touch the ball. I tell my players, every time that you step on the ground, you must touch the ball. Right? Because if I have the ball, you're not going to score a goal. And if every time that I touch the ground, I touch the ball is always close to me, that reduces what? Injury. 50-50 balls cause injuries, right? If I have possession of the ball, it's not a 50-50. Therefore, the injury is going to be reduced. So players are dribbling over here. And if you know the name of the players, this is the coach over there. I have a goalie over here. If you know the name of the players, just call him number 1. And number 1 has to dribble the ball, fake a cone, take a shot. Do whatever they want. Which part of the foot will you use to take shots at the goal? Which part of the foot? I hear late. I don't care. Score the goal. Use any part you want. Right? Every year, we keep discovering different parts of our foot. We see players taking 40-yard foul shots now using the inside. That was not known in my time. In my time, inside is just for passing. Now you see players taking strikes, especially David Luiz or Juninho taking strikes from 40 yards and scoring goals. So when your players are taking shots, just say, coach, what? Score a goal. And then later on you say, well, why don't you try this? Why don't you try that? We are facilitators. We cannot produce players that play like us. We are facilitators. We are to put some thoughts in their brain so they can develop their own playing, the playing system, their playing way. That's what we do. We are not right all the time. Actually, we learn more when we are training, right, than when we were learning that before. Again, if you want to make that easier or more, let's do that more difficult, well, call 2 players at once. They have to dribble and shoot at the goal at once. So the goal is now are working their reflexes And while those two players are taking shots, the other ones are doing what? They're dribbling, they're doing the fakes, the Ronaldos, the Zidane, whatever you want to do. Step in, hey, let me show you this over here, try this over here. Okay, go ahead. And continue doing that. So after the players take the shot, they return to the channel over there, always on the outside, so they will not disrupt other players that are coming in. Right? This player is taking a shot, and he's going back over here by the channel. Simple. Right? I could be passing the ball to you for you to take a shot that go all day long. Are you playing the game? How many times you have the opportunity to take a shot that go without opposition? I want to create chaos, so I have players over here dribbling in a confined area so they can look up. So they're not doing I call that the tatanka. They're looking up. I tell my players, I say, listen, why does, I have a dog, his name is Pelé. Guess what his color is? He's a black lab, right? His name is Pelé. And Pelé, my dog, is always sniffing the ground. Why is he sniffing the ground? What is he looking for? Food, right? So I tell my players, we are not animals, we are human beings. We look for progress, we look for up, we scan the field all the time. How many times do you think a Ronaldo, a Messi, a Neymar, they scan the field while they're playing? Hundreds of times. Before the ball gets to them, they already have 2 or 3 options on what to do with the ball. That's what the best players do, because they are all cognitive. Those players, Messi, Neymar, they grew up playing futsal in a small, confined area. So look, the exercise should be dynamic. And what is tactical? What is the difference between technicism and ludic in playing games? Simple. You were there, I'm here, I'm passing the ball to you all day long. Will that produce players? That will produce at the most passers. Oh yeah, you can pass the ball nicely. Now, how many times on the field you passing the ball without moving? How many times on the field you passing the ball without being pressurized? So the technicism, that's the old school. We have to be more cognitive, more ludic when we train. How do we accomplish that? By creating games, by creating activities that are similar to the game. Oh, wait a minute, but people talk about that all the time, right? I just heard Jose Mourinho or Pepe Guardiola talking about that all the time. Exactly, that's what they do. They go over there, and even with professional players, we always continue doing the ludic game so they can think. So basically, if you want to make that more challenging, as I mentioned before, you ask the players not to use their preferred foot, their weak foot, to take shots, right? We want to develop both feet the best we can. Why is that? Well, the modern players, the modern soccer players, they're faster. Therefore, the time that you keep the ball is shorter because there's going to be pressure on you. So sometimes you don't have time to control the ball and make a pass. When the ball comes to you, you have to make the ball first pass, first touch, and whatnot. And you have to be proficient on both feet. You can also, to make that more challenging, you can insist on keeper. Oops, where am I? Over here. You can insist on the keeper to come in on the top of the box to shooting to make the angle smaller, right? Goalkeepers, modern goalkeepers, I have some news for you, and I'm sure that some of you know that. They are not shot blockers anymore. Modern goalkeepers, they are players. As a matter of fact, in my opinion, goalkeepers are probably the most important player on the pitch. They are so important that there is a goalie trainer. There is no striker trainer or midfield trainer, right? The goalkeepers arrive an hour and a half before the training session starts. They practice hard, they train with the goalie trainer and with the other goalies. And then practice starts, they're involved on the practice of the team. And then when practice is over, some of them stay over there to train more. We see goalies now at the professional level, they're playing on the top of the 18. They are your sweeper. Sweeper. right? Does anybody knows any team in the world that plays with the sweeper stopper? This over here? Right? I don't know who created that. I have to do a research on that. Right? Sweeper stopper is a condition of the game. It happens. Most teams, they play with the flat four, yes? Why do they play with the flat four? Simple. Because now they're playing with two sweepers. Depending on the side of the ball, I go and you come to cover me. And if the ball goes to that side, you go and I come to cover you. It's much easier, in my opinion, to play with the four players on the back. Because now you have two sweepers, if you will. Right? Most clubs, most coaches, what they will do, they'll get the fastest player over there, right? The player that can kick the ball the hardest, and put that player to play as what? As a sweeper. Right? So I'm that player over here. I'm the last man over here. Can I go forwards? Very seldom, right? I'm going to pass the ball over there. How far is this pass over here and that pass over there? 25, 30 yards, right? That kills the offside trap. Sometimes, right? You tell your sweeper, move forward. Well, why don't you tell me to play flat four and bring the goalkeeper to play on the top of the 18, just like we saw at the World Cup. Neuer play on the top of the 18, right? You make your final third smaller, so when the ball are sent over your line of four, who is there to get the ball? The goalie. And your goalie is the guy that starts what? You counterattack. That's what you see now. Goalkeepers are starting counterattacks. It's unheard of, right? It's been going on for the past 10 years. Okay? So one of the characteristics of the modern goalkeeper is that he's a player, not a shot blocker only. Now let's progress over here from that little exercise that you have your U8 players or U10 players or even your U19, your college players doing. Let's progress over here. Now in this case, we have three players over here passing and moving. So I have three players now passing and moving, right? Three groups of three players. Could I have four groups of, sure, of three players? Yes, absolutely. So they're passing and moving. I have a gate over here. I have a keeper. And those players are passing and moving. And do you see three different colors over there? So if the coach says orange, the player in possession of the ball will dribble the ball. The player that just made the pass is going to rush and become a striker, a target, with his back to the goal. Yes? So this player over here is going to conduce the ball. This player that just made the pass is going to become the target. And the third player is going to be the third man running. So the ball goes to the target. He's going to trap the ball. Right? And two players are running now, so he can feed that player over there. And always ask your players to strike the ball in the corners. Even if they miss it. Just tell them, look for the corner. Right? And if we want to talk about mechanics, how do I show my player to strike the ball over there? If the ball is here, simple. Just tell them your stepping foot. Your stepping foot is going to tell you where the ball goes. So if you want the ball to go over there, your stepping foot is going to be pointing over there. Do you ever try to pass the ball is over here, to pass the ball over there with your stepping foot pointing that way? You break your back. That's why on PKs now the goalie is waiting till the last moment to see where the stepping foot of that guy is pointing at so they can go. The stepping foot will tell you, if your stepping foot is pointing towards the far post, the ball will go to the far post, more likely. Okay, so let's go over here to the next slide. As you can see over here, in this case was the green team. The ball was passed. This guy controlled the ball, he makes the pass. You see the shot over here? Where are we? Over here. See the shot over here? The far post. That player actually should be rushing over here. Because if this player misses the shot, the other player is over there to push it in. Simple. Does happen in soccer all the time. More likely lately, right? You've seen lately how people are scoring the balls almost inside the box in the far post. The shots are going over there. Do you ever see players striking the ball in the near post? Who is in the near post? The big bad goalie. Right? That's why you tell players strike on the far post. Okay. So in this case over here, let's go back one slide. After the play is completed, those players go back through this channel, and another group of players, another caller is called in to perform the task. Simple. Game situation. Tell me if this is not a game situation. The third man running. Hello. Do players like that? Of course, that's a game. There's a keeper, there's a goal, there's shots and goal. They are playing the game. They are not going to get tired. And then you come in and say, you know what? We see soccer teams now playing with a striker in the center of the field, in the top of the 18, right in the center. And sometimes you see them with a striker on the wings, both sides. So the target player is being used mostly. And that's a characteristic of the game of futsal. Because that player, when that player receives the ball with the back of his goal, look how far the defender is. I'm not going to control the ball like this, right? Square. What do you tell your players when they trap the ball square like that? Coach Eric? This is Coach Eric over here from Lisbon. Actually, he was born in the US, but his father lied to him, said that Portugal was better. So look, Coach Eric is a striker, and the ball is passed to him, and he's going to receive the ball square. Oh, and I'm a defender. I said, oh, that's my meal right here, right? Because I'm going to give right between his legs, yes? I'm going to hit his little bone over here. He's going to go this high. He's going to sit on the ground, and the ball goes over there. The referee is going to call a foul, and I say, sir, I got ball, right? Sir, I got ball. Look. And he's on the ground. Oh. So how should he control this ball? Look at this. Okay, you're righty, so turn the other way. Look at this. Look at this. Look how far am I now to get that ball. Is this a foul? Is this a foul? He puts his hands on me, what I do? Push it back. He puts again, I push it. Because he's a player. That's how the game is played. So please, tell your players from 4 years old all the way to 16 years old that we use our arms, our hands, even if you're not a goalie, for protection and balance. Many times we see players at a high level, they play with their hands on their pockets. Not going to be successful, short career, because when you play against players that knows that we use their hands, you are out. So you tell your players, put your hands up when you're playing. If someone puts their hand on you, push their hand down. He's going to put his hand again, you push it down. That's how the game is played. Okay? Now listen to me, very important. Look how far the ball is. The ball is on his right foot, see? And tell your players, when the referee tells you, hey, you, Mary, put your hands down. Just tell Mary to say, yes, sir, and next time she does the same thing. That's why they are referees and you are a player. This is not a foul. This is a foul. This should not be called a foul. And yet, you're going to see many referees calling this a foul. This is not a foul. It's not on the FIFA laws of the game rule book that if you put your hands out for protection and balance, this is a foul. So you start from the 4, 5, 6 years old. No, go over there. And I'm going to show you a little exercise over here that you're going to love it, where players will be using that all the time. Okay? So look, triangular formation, yes, that's what the game is built upon. Triangular formation all the time. And if I have a triangle, if I add another player, let's try to make the diamond, kite, rhombus, right? Or which position should my players play? I don't know. What's your principle? What is your principle of play? Your midfielders, are they playing in a, are you playing 4-4-2? How do you want your midfield to be? Like a diamond? Okay, fine. Tell your guys, no matter what happens in the game, if someone moves from this 4 over here, I want the other person to complete the figure. That's my principle. I want this all the time. So now there is no position, right? And players will be paying attention because if this guy over here makes a move to go, he's got possession, the other player is coming to replace him. And you keep your principle. Less challenging, remove the keeper and allow players to score more. Is there anything more, more important than to score goals for the players to have fun, to score goals? Right? You take the goal out, the game is over. Yes, you take the offside rule out, the game is over as well. Okay? Let's continue over here. Now this over here, very quickly, I'm going to introduce the target. Again, this is the only exercise basically that we have only one ball going on over here. So this player, there are 4 lines, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a keeper. This player is going to dribble his ball. He's going to pass the ball to this green player over here. At the same time that the ball is being passed, this yellow player is going to run and become a target. Time and space is of essence. So he runs, become a target. This orange player becomes a defender. After the green player passes the ball, the target traps the ball, pressurized by the defender, and now the target has the option to lay the ball over there or over here for the passer, or to turn and shoot, both ways. So the next slide shows us that action over there, right? Yellow player was here, he got over there, the pass was made, defender came to pressurize possession, yes? And now the guy that made the pass goes for the shot. Which age group can I do that? Any age group. Remember, when you introduce an activity the first time, you know that you're not going to be successful. That's part of training. You are introducing an activity for the first time. We have not failed. The first time does not count because the players are learning. They're testing it. You challenge their thinking process. And then once they know that, it becomes automatic. So again, see the shot over there, and then another player, and then the activity repeats. The players over there, just going back, after the shot, they switch positions, right? In a way that everybody has the opportunity to play at every position of this activity over here. Make clear to the players the concept of time and space. Remember when the yellow player is making his run from here? This has to be timed perfectly with the pass, so he does not get over there that early, waiting for the ball, 15 seconds before the ball gets in. So when the pass is making, he's already jogging. And then when he gets over there, he assumes the target position, the ball comes, and he can lay the ball for the shot, or he can turn and shoot right, turn and shoot left, or in the real game, he can do what? Pass the ball back and start again, right? Okay, so time and space. Target should trap the ball using the sole of his foot. Does that happen in soccer a lot? Trapping the ball with the sole of the foot? Happens if you have skilled players, if you have players that play futsal. Now, when Ian Burker, the director of coaching for the National Soccer Coaches Association of America, he does not like the word trap the ball. Because when you say trap the ball means what? That you're killing the ball over here, right? You don't have to stop the ball when you use the sole of the foot. As a matter of fact, Coach Eric's going to help me over here for a quick demonstration. So if Coach Eric go over here on the top very quickly. Right over there, Coach. Look, right there. The first time, I'm going to pass the ball to him, and he's going to trap the ball as a target. So I always tell my players to be on the tip of their toe. So when I pass the ball, he traps the ball over there. Yes? Because he's being pressurized, he has to hold the charge. Now, if you pass the ball to me, he's going to trap the ball with the sole of the foot, but he's going to continue moving. So look, the ball goes to him. Look, he pushes the ball forward, he's moving. He can push the ball forward right, left, and continue moving. The reason that we use the sole of the foot to 99% in futsal is because the court is small and we want to get immediate control of the ball. The reason that one of the reasons that more and more soccer players are using the sole of the foot to trap the ball, in addition to the fact that they play futsal, it's because most soccer fields are made of what now? Artificial turf. It's not that bumpy soccer fields anymore, right? And that's a flat surface, therefore conducive to which players to play better. Those guys over here, they're playing futsal. Okay, thank you. Okay, now this over here, you will love this activity. You will love this activity. It's intense, create chaos. Chaos is good. Chaos forces players to think, to look up, to make decisions. Oh, you have to make decisions. Okay, coach, design an activity where I'm going to make decisions. You just tell me, you have to talk. Okay, design a training activity for me where talking is going to be the theme. Right? So we go and design activities over here for players to play 1v1 at the same time, and all of you have done that. We have two groups of players over here, and I have the coach over here. Okay? And the coach says 1v1 and serves a ball to a player over there. The first player is going to engage a player from the red team that stormed to be the opposition. You do that, right? Oh, we do that all the time. Okay, how about this? Now, while this player is playing against this one, I throw another ball in 1v1, 1v1, and 1v1. So I can have 8 1v1s going on at once. So you have to be focused, number one, to find out which ball is yours. Number two, who is coming from there and marking you. Number three, there is traffic. So you have to avoid traffic. So all elements of the game are here. And the tactical aspect of it, shoot to score. Once you dribble your opponent and you take a shot, the ball returns to the coach, and the players exit to the outside, therefore not interfering with whatever is happening on the field. Do you think that little John or little Mary is going to have time to be poking each other over there? They have to be looking at the ball. Oh, it's me now. Right? And if you are lucky to have 2 assistant coaches or even parents, well, make sure that your parents are not coaching, because they're not coaches. You know what happens. Right? In my opinion, sometimes parents are the worst enemies of the children. Right? Parents do what they're supposed to do. Their child is the best for them. And we cannot take that away from them. As a coach, the sooner we realize that they are thinking on their own child, which they should, let's face it, right? Jeffrey and my son are the best than anybody else from a father perspective. From a coach, that's a different case scenario. So we have to be able to identify that and live with that mentality. It's a parent talking now. If you're a coach, if a parent comes to you and asks a question, then you can say, do you want me to answer that as a parent or as a coach? As a coach, that's what I think. As a parent, you're absolutely right. Goodbye, no argument. Right? Because as a parent, you're right. Your child is the center of the universe. Let's not hang Galileo over here. Right? But as a coach, that's my professional opinion. That's what I think. Yes? And for those parents that are asking you about playing time, oh my, you tell them, listen, what else can your child do to earn that playing time? Can he stay an extra 20 minutes after every practice? Is he going home and dribbling the ball over there? Right? Players are 12, 13. Are you already doing some conditioning using a little bit of weight or elastics? It's not, coach, I need more playing time. What else can you do to earn that playing time? And now comes your knowledge to mentor that child to become successful. Does it make sense? If you have any questions, please raise your hands. Okay? Yes?
I'm just curious. You're giving really good advice, but when you're coaching a team versus coaching an individual player, how much time are you spending on the individual player, like this individual mentoring, versus coaching a group of players?
Well, number one, I would have a plan for every player. If I'm a professional player, if I'm a professional coach and I have 18 players on my roster, I know their characteristics, I know their strengths, and I have small little projects for each one of them. And then when parents come and talk to me, or I'll have an individual meeting with the player, right? We don't want to have a meeting, all the players are here, I'm singling out you or singling out him, unless it's a positive thing to say for the group. So that's what, I think that works for me. Does it make sense? Okay, so we have to have projects, right? This is science. For those that are in the business world, that's how we do things. We have projects, and we work on those projects individually and then as a group, because it's a team sport. Okay, so you see this over here. Let's go to the next slide. Look at this. Several players are playing. Now listen to this. Oh, wait a minute, coach. But my players don't talk. Simple. Very simple. I'm going to introduce talking over here for you. As a matter of fact, I'm going to introduce 2v1, 3v1, 3v0, 4v0, 8v0, so everybody can achieve success. Look at this. When those players over here are playing a 1v1, and the orange has possession, I say, okay, another orange in. Now what do I have? 2v1. And I tell the orange player, when you come in, ask for the ball. Don't just say, pass me the ball. No. Oh, tell them, oh. What's your name?
Eric.
I can hear you.
Eric.
Huh?
Eric.
What?
Eric.
Okay, now he's asking for the ball. Do that to your players, because everybody's shy over there, right? Nobody, no, dude, duda. Boys are dude, girls are duda. Ask for the ball. I tell my young players, when you step on a pitch, you are not a boy or a girl, you're a player. Works for me. When you leave over here, it can be whatever you want. Evidently, there are certain child development philosophies that we should use, but I don't let them know that. Because people might think that we are sort of discriminating and whatnot, right? Especially at the younger ages. Okay, I can start this activity saying 3v0 from this side and 3v0 from the other side. There is no opposition. So I want them to pass the ball. And this is a way to stop the Tatanka syndrome, where the player has possession of the ball, he has 3 other players helping him, he has 20 million players from the opposition team, and he tries to take them all. I call that the Tatanka syndrome. I tell them, relax, pass the ball back. I even go further to tell them that the easiest way to attack that goal is to pass in the ball back. Why is that? Because if you pass the ball back, the other team has to come and get it. Therefore, they leave their back unprotected, right? Unless they are Malaga. You see, when Real Madrid lost to Malaga, and we have 11 players defending on the final third of Malaga, you had the 4-4-2, the 3 lines over there, plus the goalie on the final third. And as soon as Malaga recovered the ball, you see those 3 players storming. Only 3 players stormed attacking Barcelona. Everybody else stayed back. Did it work? They won the game 1-0. But at that level, we're looking for the coach to keep in his position. Therefore, he has to win games. At the younger level, you want to develop the players. So it does not matter how many trophies you brought home. Actually, you shouldn't bring no trophies home, because you're just a facilitator, a mentor for those kids. What matters is how many of your players, that's the core group that start with you, how many of them are playing when they are 14, 15, 16? How many are going to college? Or at least, how many quit playing, but they are an individual? They are good citizens. They are nice and slim. They're going to have a long life, and they learn that sports is fundamental in the growth of anyone. So you see what we can do with this little game over here. Phenomenal game. Everybody's playing, right? We need, in order to produce excellence, we need 3 elements. 3 elements, right? The first one is you have to focus. Because by focusing, it's said that you are a better producer. You need to use the right system, right? because I can keep banging my head against the wall all day long. I'm working hard, but guess what? Ain't going to happen. I'm not going to be able to get through that wall. Focus, using the right system, and training hard. Right? Good book for everybody to read is the Talent Code by Coyle, Daniel Coyle. Great book. I recommend that book to my coaches, to my parents, to everybody. It's a great book to read. Gives you some insight that talent can be created to a certain extent. Okay, continue over here. Explain to players the importance of roles during the game. Again, FIFA analysis. The soccer game is becoming so fast that the transition between offense and defense has been diminishing dramatically, especially in modern soccer. Who is your first defender? Who is it? The player closest to the ball. I lose the bomb here. I want this cookie back. That's your first defender over there, right? So you see many times, especially when the teams that are trained by those great coaches, they lose possession when they are over there. Guys marking you, the guy's marking you, I'm over here on the ball. We want to destroy your possession. By destroying your possession, we gain possession. And if I have the ball, most likely my team is going to win the game. Because if I have 70% of possession out of 60 minutes, that's 42 minutes, I have 42% more chances of winning than your 16. Sometimes we lose, sometimes the team with the 70% possession, they lose the game. But most of the time, they win. Let's continue over here. So you see over there, the 1v0, 2v0, 3v0, 4v0, and whatnot. Let's expedite this over here. This over here, you're going to love this one. Have I said that before? Because they are beautiful exercise. Trained and tested. We're talking about transition, change of roles. Simple. 1v1 over here. Yes? Look what happens now. The yellow player took the ball, scores a goal. The yellow player, if they're scoring a goal, he's attacking. Yes, he scored a goal. What happens now? Another red player comes in with the ball and is going to play. This red player and this red player is going to play 2 versus 1. This red player now becomes the defender. Change of roles immediately. There it is. Boom. 2v1. The other player came over here with the ball. 2v1 against this defender. Right? Transition, immediate transition. Right there. Next slide. Look, with a numerical advantage and possession of the ball, the result should always be a goal, yes, without sacrificing what? Possession. Right? When you transition, question for you, soccer game. Look at me, don't sleep on me. Look at me. On a soccer game, you're watching on TV, there is a counter-attack. Counter-attack. Who is in numerical advantage? The attacking team or the defending team? Most of the time. The defending team has what? More or less players? One would think that because it's a counterattack, the attacking player would have more players, right? It's not. Most of the time, the attacking team has numerical inferiority. But why on a 3v4, why 3 attacking on a soccer field is in an advantage position-wide? Why is that? Because the 4 players are tracking down. The guy in possession of the ball has 2 runners. They can go inside, outside, they can cross over. Do you understand? That's a counterattack. Most of the time in soccer, the counterattack team is in numerical advantage, yet they are in functional advantage, in positioning advantage, right? Because most of the time those players are tracking at least this way. They have to see where the ball is, and they have to see where the players are going. So it's much more difficult. Over here again. Look at this. We're increasing now. We're going to a 3v2, triangular formation. Just by looking at those two defenders over here, just by looking at that, I already know that they are not set properly. Right? Why is that? Why those two, just by looking, the ball's here. They're okay, they're waiting for the ball. That's okay, they're making the field smaller. But what's wrong with this picture over here? Flat. Just by looking at that, I know that they are flat. And this is easy to split a defender when they're flat, right? So technically, one of those players should step forward and the other one should get a little bit behind. Yes? So we're not like this. I'm going to split you over here. Okay? And guess what happens now? Go back. This player over here, the ball comes moving forward in a triangular formation. This player over here is going to attack the ball. And I guarantee to you that this player was watching ball. Right? Instead of watching both ball and what's going on. Look at that. And then what do we have now? This player came to challenge. He dove in too early. A pass is made. Now this guy has to cover. And who is left alone? Your far post guy. Okay? What happens now? A goal was scored. Right? A goal was scored over here for sure. Boom. The guy that scores the goal, the orange team, they come out. The other two teams, the other two players come in, and another player from the yellow come in with a fresh ball. What this player, and this player now play? Offense against whom? The other two players that just came in. So I transition again those three orange players over here to play offense. They are out. But the most important part is that those two yellow defenders with the other player in, 3v2, they are attacking now against the other two players. So the mentality, the role changes immediately. When you're attacking, you do one thing. When you defend, when you're defending, you do other things. Let's move over here. And then another team comes in and the game is restarted. Look, emphasize the urgency of scoring immediately, right, if you are in numerical advantage. Why is that? Why you should score immediately if you are in a 4v3 situation over there? Why is that? Because the other team is coming back to help, to create balance. But you have to score without thank you, it's telling me that I'm all done. Okay, without sacrificing possession over here. Let's go real quickly over here. This looks like the Oscars, right? The music starts to play over here. Let's go over here for an exercise that you will love. Look at this over here. Look at this again. This is all games that you're creating numerical advantage. In this case over here, it's a simple 4v4, yes? 4 yellow players versus 4 orange players and goalies. But this is the kicker. If you make a bad pass, you come out immediately. Now what do we have now? 4 versus what? Numerical advantage. If the other team recovers the ball, then you come in. So this is player in, player out all the time. Players love that? Yes, they do. Because this is the real game. Well, man, but can I use that in soccer? Actually, this is soccer. Futsal is soccer. Futsal is nothing more than a sport that expedites the soccer learning process. Especially at younger ages. Later on, we can talk that, okay, futsal becomes its own sport. The player profile is different at a professional level. If you're playing professional futsal, it's very difficult for you to transition from professional futsal to professional soccer. It doesn't happen at all. But in the beginning, futsal expedites the learning process, so you become better, and then you transition to the game, you become much more proficient. See, this player came out over here. Right? Now we have 4v3. And then we go on and on. Okay? Another game over here. Look, this is one of the best. This is one of the best. Have I said that before? Look, many times. Look at this. 4v4. Okay? Don't leave yet. Just watch this one over here. 1 minute. You're going to love this one. Look, 4v4. You know your players, right? If I don't know the players, I say, okay, you are green 1, green 2, green 3, green 4. And you are orange 1, orange 2, orange 3, and orange 4. And I have a bunch of balls over here with me. I'm the coach. So let's say that in this case, orange has possession of the ball. Okay? And then I say green 1. The player green 1 has to come with the ball and attack the goalie in a 1v1 situation. See? He left the play. What do I have now? 4 orange versus what? 3 green. Right? So immediately this player comes, get the ball, and he plays a 1v1 with the goalie. 4 now is playing against 3. They should expedite the attacking so they can score a goal before this player that took the shot comes back to balance the defense. See that? Look, this player is going over here to score a goal. The goal is getting action. Yes, we like that. Sometimes you play a small side games and the ball hardly comes to one goalie. This over here, there is absolutely no excuse. He's at least playing 1v1. And at the same time, the 4 orange are attacking 3 green. So orange has a sense of urgency over here because very soon this player, after he shoots at goal, he's going to come back to balance the defense. Counterattack all the time. Attack, counterattack all the time. Again, the play restarts and another player is called. If you want to make it easier, instead of calling one player from the defending team, call 2 players from the defending team and give 2 balls. Right? Now I have 2 players attacking the goalie at the same time, but how many are defending now? 2. How many are attacking from the other team? 4. 4v2. If the kids are younger, they cannot pass the ball. Should I use this? You betcha you should. Because they will learn the game as they learn the individual technique. Actually, it's more important to learn the game at the same time that you're learning individual technique than just spend all the time over here all day long in technicism, old soccer that's not going to produce players, going to produce good passers outside the game. So all those games over here, they require a very important element that's thinking and making decisions. Right? We are just supplying the elements because then players will build their own player knowledge in those building blocks and they become free. Okay? And so we're going to stop over here. Again, futsal expedite the soccer and learning process. Players touch the ball much more goals. If the ball is coming to you all the time, even if you don't want to, you get better. On a 1-hour training, if the player is using the futsal training system that we utilize, he's going to touch the ball 3,000 to 3,500 times in 1 hour of training. We have measured that with the pedometer. Why? Because we emphasize that every time that you take a step, you should touch the ball. Can I have that ball, please? So that's what I'm talking about. Look, touch the ball over here. The ball is always close to you. Look at me. Do you understand? So that's what we do. So if you're touching the ball 3,500 times in 1 hour training session, even if you don't want to, you're going to get better. Thank you, coach. Okay? Develop key skills quickly and completely, more passing, dribbling, shooting, goalies working their reflexes, improve the overall game for players and teams. Okay? I have some cards over here. We go around training coaches. We have a 6-hour training coaches. If your organization is interested, we have a whole system. It's not expensive. We'll come to you. We'll train your coaches. Everybody knows that there is no stopping in futsal, right? So now what do we have to do? We have to educate. Because it's very easy to say, okay, my premier team is doing futsal. Yeah, you're going to a futsal court with a futsal ball and you're doing soccer over there. So you're doing nothing to your players. So we can go over there, help you guys out with our training session. We have State 2, State 1, Region 2, Region 1, National 2, and National 1 official U.S. futsal certificates for you guys. Okay? Questions? We could be talking about this for quite a few hours. And I appreciate you coming over here. Thank you very much.